Si on vous demande le nom d'un club auto qui rembourse votre franchise en cas d'accident, vous pensez à qui? Roule prend le relais là où votre assurance auto s'arrête. Roule, le premier club auto qui profite à tous, à condition de ne pas passer à côté.
A warm welcome to everyone joining us from all over the world. We're here at the Mugello circuit for round number 5 of the Alpine ELF Cup Series. My name is Daniele Spadi. I will be your commentator both today and tomorrow for what is the 5th round of the 2025 season. A series that has given us plenty of fun and hard racing throughout the first 4 rounds in Nogaro, Spa-Francorchamps, Zandvoort and Magny-Cours. And we are here now in Tuscany, Italy for race number 5 and round number 5 of this incredible season so far, and everyone will be fighting for the podium, of course the win as well, but everyone will be trying to catch Leo Jusset, the pole sitter, who we're seeing right now with the images, who is the championship leader as well. He has been absolutely phenomenal this season with 5 race wins in the opening 8 rounds of the year, 4 straight wins between Nogaro and Spa-Francorchamps, and then another win in Magny-Cours in race number 2, the last race that we've done this season so far. Leo Jusset will be starting in first position from the right hand side of the track and the left hand side of the screen. Here we have car number 88, Matthias Casat, who is starting from third. Everyone tried to fight Jusset in qualifying earlier this morning, but unfortunately for them, the Frenchman was way too quick for everyone else. 4/10 on the closest competitor, which was Roy Meyers from the USA. He was in second position with a 1:59.4, 4/10 behind Leo Jusset, driver for Race Cars Cons, who is now starting from pole, and everyone will be trying to catch him as soon as possible in this 30-minute plus 1 lap race. Let's not forget, we have, of course, our 4 different categories ready to fight for their class win as we start our formation lap as we speak. We have the Pro class, which is, of course, the one reserved to the very best drivers of the championship, the professionals, with more than 23 years of age and with sporting success in their career before. The Junior category, with people and drivers that are less than 23 years old, and of course they are starting their racing journey. Then we have the Challengers category for those drivers between 23 and 45 years of age without sporting success. And then last but definitely not least, the Gentleman category, which is reserved to those with over 45 years of age. And we have now started the formation up, which is the best time to talk a bit about the Mugello circuit. It is a 5.245 meter circuit. It's one of the very best tracks, not just in Italy but in Europe as well, which is perfect for these very agile cars. 15 corners, 9 to the right, 6 to the left. It was built back in 1972, opened then 2 years later in 1974, with a capacity of 50,000 spectators. We have many fans who have come here today. Most of them are in the main grandstand, trying to get some shade from the sun. It's not that hot today, but it's still very much warm out there. And here we are already in sector number 2. These are the famous Arrabbiata corners, turns number 8 and 9. As we can see, the cars making their way through towards the final part of the track. It's a very fast racetrack with some high-speed corners that test drivers and cars alike, and even the very best can make mistakes around here. As you can see, a lot of gravel traps around the racetrack, which means that mistakes are, of course, not easily forgivable. And even a slight mistake in the racing line can make a huge difference around here. We saw it in qualifying, but this did not disappoint Leo Jusset, who was able to get first position. Behind him, it's Meyuas in second position, then it's Casat in third, Monti in fourth, and then Lartigot and Weirich finishing the top 6. Casat is also the leader of the junior class. He is starting from third position. Meanwhile, the leader for what is the challenger category will be starting from 7th position. but we're now ready to get things underway as the safety car will peel off into the pit lane at the end of this lap, giving us the chance to have a look at the race start with José on the right-hand side of the track. Let's not forget though, it will be the left-hand side of the camera. Alongside him, Mejoas will be trying to get first place towards turn number 1, the opening corner of the racetrack. San Donato with Caso and Monti in 3rd and 4th. As you can see here, some of the fans ready to see the start of this race number 1 from Mugello. And the green flag has now been shown, and we are underway for the Alpine ELF Cup Series. Round number 5 here in Mugello. It's a good start from Mejoas, who was trying to put Le José under pressure. Let's see how things fare towards turn number 1. He looks like Mejoas could have a slight advantage together with Monti. Around the outside goes the latter, who is trying to make it 30 wide towards turn number 1. But look at José with a perfect line through turn number 1, and after San Donato, it's José who leads once more with Monti in 2nd position and Mejoas in 3rd, and then the rest of the pack following close by as everyone is trying to catch José at the moment. Someone going slightly off into the gravel trap, but thankfully able to come back to the track once more. It looked to have been Walgren, car number 111, who is currently fighting for the gentleman lead. It's José ahead of Monti, Mejoas, Weidich, Caso and Walgren in 6th position. It wasn't a great start for Caso. He was in 3rd and then dropped to 5th, though crucially he is still leading in the junior standings. As now we go through towards Arrabbiata 1 and then Arrabbiata 2 before starting the last 6 corners of the racetrack. And here you can see the fight for what looks to be 5th position as Caso is fighting to get back into the top 4 in the overall standings, though of course he's crucially leading the junior category still. As Leo José still in front. Behind him in 2nd position, car number 10 belonging to Romain Monti, who is definitely looking very racy in his Alpine. Of course, everyone having the same car, the Alpine A110 Cup. We'll be talking about this incredible race car later down the line during this race. But first and foremost, we have a fight for the lead on our hands with Leo José. Currently in 1st position, however, he is going to need to defend his line into turn number 1, I fear, as Romain Monti is very close with his car prepared by Chazelle Technologie Course. As we start now yet another lap, and now José looks to be in the lead still, with Monti looking to the inside. Meanwhile, we have a fight for what was 4th position between Weidich and Caso. The two fighting very hard, and it looks like Caso may have gone through, but we'll be waiting for confirmation, as Mejoas meanwhile is still in 3rd place. The one racing with Forestier Racing by VPS, a very, very important team around Europe, not just in the Alpine ELF Cup Series, but also in prototype racing too, as we've seen them in other categories such as the Michelin Le Mans Cup this year. Meanwhile, here we see the fight for 4th. There's still Weidich in front of Caso. Therefore, the top 4 drivers are all part of the pro standings. And here you can see the rest of the field. Naturally, it is quite easy to get a hold of the different categories because of the color coordination of the numbers. Color red is associated with the pro category. Orange instead is for the gentleman class. The green is for the juniors, and the blue is for the challenger category. And you can see them on the windshield of the different cars. And here is the bright red of car number 36 with Roy Mejoas still in 3rd place. And crucially, he looks to have closed the gap a little bit on José and Monti. The top 2 still racing hard. As we go through towards lap number 3, we still have 25 minutes and 55 seconds plus an additional lap of racing, as per usual in this series, which is enjoying its 8th year since the beginning of the Alpine ELF Cup Series back in 2018. the rebrand of the name since last season, however. But we are now watching the fight for fourth again, as Weidich has to defend his position from Cazaux. He looks to be very quick, the latter. Let's not forget he is the leader of the junior category in this race, and most crucially of the junior classifications in the championship as well. Only 2 points over Lazare Lartigot, but the latter is now behind in 6th place, trying to edge ever so closer to Cazaux, who is currently stuck behind Weidich. And you can see Lartigot with the car by Forestier Racing by VPS, the black and neon green livery, of course being teammates with Meyuas, who is currently in 3rd. As you can see here, this is the fight for the podium places, with Leo Jousset, Romain Monti and Roy Meyuas in 1st, 2nd and 3rd respectively. And then we see how close Matthias Cazaux is to the back of his main rival for this race, being Victor Weidich, who is currently in 2nd position in the driver's standings, only 27 points behind Leo Jousset. He is the main rival of the Frenchman, who currently is trying to break away from Romain Monti and Roy Meyuas. As you can see here, a fight going on pretty strongly between 2nd and 3rd, and especially between 4th and 5th, as Weidich and Cazaux are ready to fight once more. But in the previous lap, Leo Jousset, and the one that we just finished, set the fastest lap of the race with a 2-minute flat .3, 6/10 quicker than the pair of Monti and Meyuas. And behind now it's Cazaux to the inside into turn 1. Let's see if he is the bravest under braking. He is, and he moves up into 4th position. Nothing that Victor Weidich could have done there, as he tries the switchback, but unfortunately it doesn't work for him. This means that Cazaux is up into 4th position, still crucially leading in the junior standings. And meanwhile, here is Meyuas looking to the inside of Romain Monti, but unfortunately for him, that doesn't work out. Currently Cazaux in 4th, and now is Meyuas trying the attack in a very, very difficult place to overtake. We are through turn number 5, 6 and 7. Let's see if he's able to make it around the outside of Arrabbiata Uno, but that will be very tough for him to complete. And in fact, he is forced to lift off the throttle and stay in 3rd position. Well, we see situation in the pit lane as well, anxiously watching P2 and P3 fight for those last 2 steps on the podium. But this, of course, will help both Cazaux and Weidich come back into the conversation for the top 3. We'll see if these two will be slowing each other down enough for the Frenchman to close in. And perhaps, who knows, try and fight for 2nd and 3rd in this race. Of course, drivers will have to be very careful with tires as well. As I told you guys before, it's not that hot today, with 27 degrees in the air, but the track is at a crucial 47 degrees, which means that tires will be going off pretty quickly today. Therefore, the driver with the better tire management skills will probably get the best of his rivals. Meanwhile, in the gentleman category, we see Walgren still in the lead. Let's not forget that Rodolphe has joined the series in Magny-Cours, taking a 4th place in race number 2, and now he's leading for the first time this season. Behind him is the leader of the Challengers category, Thibaut Bossy. He is in 3rd in the championship, but crucially in the lead today. He won in his category the very first race of the season in Nogaro, and now he looks to be fighting for his 2nd win of the Challengers class, which is currently led in the standings by Johan Ackermann, who has taken 5 of the last 6 class victories. Meanwhile, in front it's still Leo José looking to build a gap over his rivals, and he is definitely able to do so, at least in these first 10 minutes of racing. Leo José currently with a 2.8 second gap over Romain Monti, while Roemeyuas is in third position, trying desperately to find a way through, but unfortunately for him, it does not look like the case as of right now. Let's see if he will be looking to the inside of his French rival into turn number 1, though it looks like Monti has a good exit out of the final corner. Meanwhile, we can see that Lartigot has caught the back of Victor Vairi, and so we will be possibly seeing a fight for 5th place in the overall standings, though the two are belonging to 2 different classes. The pro standings are the ones reserved for Vairi, whereas the junior class is for Lartigot. Let's see if the latter try to move up the inside into turn 1. It doesn't look like it, as he is still in 6th position. Here is Leo José, the championship leader. He's been having a phenomenal season so far. As I said before, 5 race wins, including the opening 4 races of the season between the 2 in Nogaro and the 2 in Spa. Then a bit of difficulties in Zandvoort when he only managed 4th as his best result in race number 2, and then in race 1 in Magny-Cours, where he finished 5th before bouncing back for a 5th victory of the season in race number 2. Behind him, of course, Romain Monti, the winner in Zandvoort in race number 2, and Roemeyuas, the one who won the opening race in Magny-Cours last time out. Therefore, the top 3 that we have as of right now are the last 3 winners of the championship, at least race-wise, in 2025. We've had 4 winners so far this year. The other one is Victor Vairi, who took the win in Zandvoort in race number 1. We've had 4 different winners in the last 4 races, though that is likely to change today, seeing Leo José flying in these opening laps of what is essentially race number 9 of the season, but the opening race of round 5. So we now begin lap number 7 as Leo José goes across the line. Once again, he has been phenomenal so far. He's been quick from start to finish this weekend. And currently he holds a 4-second lead over Romain Monti and Roemeyuas in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Cazaux is in 4th still, and he has managed to break away from Vairi with a 1.6 second gap as of right now. You can see it, Cazaux in the white and blue livery Alpine. Of course, everyone racing with the A110 Cup model, a car that boasts a 1.8 litre turbo engine creating 300 brake horsepower. It is essentially one of the best cars to start the driver's journey in Grand Touring racing. One-make championships such as the Alpine ELF Cup Series are a fundamental stepping stone for those drivers who later down the line want to go into GT racing full-time, and why not even other categories. Though this is a perfect example of what GT cars would handle like. Of course, with state-of-the-art brakes by Brembo, with the ABS system by Bosch, and then naturally the support of a brand such as Alpine, who is in the best championships around the world in the motor racing industry. The French constructor, of course, needs no introduction. Meanwhile, we are reaching the halfway point of today's race. Meanwhile, this is Herrero Racing. Their driver, Victor Vairi, currently in 5th position, having to defend from the attacks of Lartigot for a spot in the top 5. You can see them crossing the line right about now, whereas Jose is now entering into turn 1. And here are Weidich and Lartigot with the latter trying maybe up the inside into turn 1. It's a late move from car number 38. Nothing happening as of right now, with Lartigot staying behind Weidich, who is still in 5th position. We've seen now the opening chicane of sector number 1 as well. Naturally, Mugello boasting these 3 back-to-back-to-back chicanes, which become wider as we go through the lap before coming here to turn 6 and 7, which is a very loose chicane, but a very high-speed one, which brings the drivers to the 2 Arrabbiata corners that we're seeing right now, the staple of the Mugello circuit, which is of course a track that has hosted a plethora of important series. Let's not forget the countless MotoGP events around here, as well as Formula 1 coming in 2020, and very important one-make events and championships like the Alpine ELF Cup Series have raced here. Most notably, the Ferrari Challenge World Finals will be held here later this year. As meanwhile, we'll see Lartigot trying to make a move on Weidich into what is turn number 12. Fortunately though for him, that does not work. Now into turn number 15, Buccinet. To the inside goes Lartigot, and this may well be the move that secures him 4th position. Or will we see Weidich fight back with a drag race towards the line? This is also possibly the drivers trying to see which line is best for a last gasp overtake in around 15 minutes time. So far it's Weidich with the upper hand, but now Lartigot will look to the outside into turn 1, trying something different, maybe the switchback through turn number 1, though Weidich places his car brilliantly to defend, and he is still in 4th position. Meanwhile, the fight for 2nd still not igniting, though Meua is just 3/10 behind Romain Monti, with the Forestier racing by BS driver trying to put the Frenchman under pressure to claim 2nd. We briefly saw them entering turn 6. In front, Le José has completely disappeared. The gap now 6.8 seconds, which is definitely phenomenal, especially since we've been racing for less than 18 minutes so far. He is 5 to 7 tenths quicker each lap compared to his rivals. Meanwhile, here are the drivers from positions 2 to 5, and behind them it's Walgren once more in 6th position, leader of the gentleman class, whereas in the challengers category we've seen a switch with Thierry Bossy not in the lead anymore, Thibaut Bossy, sorry, and it's Ivan Ovsienko now leading the challenger standings. He's currently in 8th position overall, and he will be looking to consolidate that for a 2nd win in class this season after taking the honors in Magny-Cours, also in race 1 last time out. And what we see here, a fight for 2nd between Monti and Meyuas. It looks like they're trying to work together in order not to let Cazot back into the fight for the podium, but who knows, maybe he will be able to get that place, or at least fight for that. Jose naturally looking the quickest driver so far, and he has done so throughout the entire season, I have to say. It looks like we may see yet another Jose masterclass today, though we still have 10 minutes and 46 seconds, plus, of course, the additional lap of racing, which could prove to be fundamental today, as we saw the pit box of Forestier Racing, who are currently in 3rd and 6th, though looking to climb to 2nd and 5th respectively, with Roemea and Lartigot. Here we see with the camera the exit of what is turn number 11. It is naturally one of the most crucial points of the circuit. This third sector in particular is very much crucial, as having a better exit than your rival through here, turn number 12 this is, called Correntaio, allows you to have this run on your opponents, which is exactly what Lartigot has been doing in the final couple of minutes of this race. He looks to the inside, maybe waits for a second, as now Weidich goes slightly wide into the final corner, though it's on purpose to have a better exit through turn 15. We've seen this for the last couple of laps, as Weidich is once more ahead, though Lartigot is very close this time around. Let's see if he can use the slipstream to move perhaps into 5th position come the end of the straight, though he doesn't even try the move, as Weidich is in front of his rival by a little over 2 car lengths, which is not enough for him to attack. Meanwhile, in front, the gap is now 8.2 seconds between Jusset and Monti in only 10 laps, 10 and a half if you count the one that we are on right now, which means that Leo Jusset has been absolutely phenomenal today. He is still with the fastest lap of the race as well, a 2-minute flat .3. The only one close to that was Roemea with the 2-minute flat .7, though that is still 4/10 slower than his main rival. Let's not forget that the fastest lap of the race gives the driver who scores it 1 additional point together with the pole position, for a total of 22 points available per race, and Leo Jusset has done that 3 times already this season, in both races at Nogaro in round number 1 and in the last race that we've seen this year in Magny-Cours. Coincidentally, this would be his first win of the season outside of a French-speaking country, as we now see once more Lartigot trying to maybe try a different line than Weidich, but the outside line looks to be the quickest so far, especially in turn number 15. Of course, the radius of the corner helps with this a lot, as a much wider corner with basically a 180-degree turn makes a lot of a difference, especially in these tiny cars, which need to try and bring as much speed as possible. As now down the inside goes Lartigot into turn number 1, and finally he looks to be able to have made the move stick. Let's see if Weidich is able to attack in turns number 2 and 3, but that doesn't seem the case. And yes, it is finally Lazare Lartigot who is able to emerge from turn 3 as the driver in 5th, and that was a great overtake from the Forestier Racing driver. But he was finally beaten under the brakes. But that was a great move from Lartigot, who's now into 5th, and crucially now released from Weidich to try and catch Cazaux in the fight for the junior standings. Cazaux and Lartigot are the only 2 in that category, which means that they are indeed the youngest drivers in here with no previous sporting success. And they're not slow either, as they are currently in the top 5 of the overall standings in this race, and in the top 6 of the championship too. Between the 2 of them, they have collected 3 podiums this year in the overall standings. Lartigot has got 2 between Spa and Zandvoort. He finished 3rd in both occasions. And then Matthias Cazot finished second in race number 1 in Magny-Cours, whereas here is Herrera Racing looking at live timing page as well as the images to try and see if their driver Victor Weidich can make a comeback for 5th position in the overall standings, and of course to check on the other cars as well, as they are fielding 4 Alpines here, one in the Challengers class with Thibaut Bossy, who was leading the class in the opening stages and now has dropped to second, 2.1 seconds behind Ovsienko, and the other 2 Herrera Racing cars are in the gentleman standings with car number 25 belonging to David Barreret, currently in 3rd place in the standings for his category, and of course Frank Ruxel as well, who is currently in 7th and in 16th position overall in car number 7. Meanwhile, there's less than 5 minutes left on the clock. We are looking likely to see 3 other laps of racing around here, as Jusset will probably be crossing the start-finish line with less than 4 minutes on the clock. We have to remember, in fact, that we have 1 additional lap of racing after the end of the 30 minutes. Meanwhile, we can see that Romain Monti has built a bit of a gap over his main rival today, Roy Meilleur, and that is about, I'd say, 1.2, 1.3 seconds between the 2 of them, with junior class leader Matthias Cazot closing in as well. However, he is still in 4th and roughly 3 seconds behind Meilleur, which will be very tough to close in these final 3 laps of racing, it looks like. But here is Weidich now almost under attack from Wahlgren, who's been showing some great pace, and on the other hand, the driver who's second in the championship and currently 6th today looks to be struggling quite a bit, which is naturally a shame for him and his championship hopes, as Victor Weidich, remember, he was 27 points behind Jusset. He's going to be at least 28 points behind, as the latter scored pole position, which is rewarded with 1 additional point in the standings. But it looks like Jusset may be going for the Grand Chelem, which is awarded to those drivers who score pole position, lead every single lap, and score the fastest lap of the race as well. That is so far the case for Léo Jusset, who is currently in 1st place, now 11.7 seconds clear of Romain Monti, and then Roy Meilleur. Here he is, car number 36 for Forestier Racing by VPS. He is currently 3rd with a 3-second gap to hold over Matthias Cazot, the leader of the junior standings, who looks to be unstoppable in his category so far today. He was also able to overtake Victor Weidich in great fashion earlier today, and the same can be said for Lartigot, his junior driver rival. But here is Léo Jusset, who is about to go through the final corner of the racetrack for what is the 3rd to last time. We're about to start the penultimate lap of the race, in fact, because during the next lap the clock will strike 0, and therefore we'll then have only the additional lap left to do. Here are the fans up top in the main grandstand, which you can see now in the bottom right corner. Fans, of course, even further up than the camera, getting some shade from the heat and the sun, as now Jusset starts the penultimate lap of the race with Romain Monti behind him and Roy Meilleur in 3rd. The gap now between Monti and Meilleur is around 1.8 seconds, which seems to be putting Monti in the clear in the fight for 2nd position. Behind, meanwhile, is Matthias Cazot, who seems to be at least as quick, if not quicker, than Roemayoua, especially in the previous lap. He managed to gain at least 0.6 of a second over Mayoua, which is definitely an impressive result. Meanwhile, we also see a fight for what is right now 6th position between Weidich, who has been losing some ground lap after lap compared to the top 5, and then the leader of the gentleman standings, and that is Rodolphe Walgren, one of the new entries of the championship. He joined us back in Magny-Cours last time out. Meanwhile, we see José rounding out the final 3 corners. Now he's going into Bucin at the last turn of the circuit, as he will now be starting to get ready to celebrate, as we see that we have one more lap, as I was telling you guys before. The additional lap of racing now starts with Léo José in the lead. Meanwhile, here is Walgren pressuring Weidich in the fight for 6th. Can the gentleman driver score yet another overtake? He looks to the inside into the final corner, but we saw how the outside line is much quicker through there, and Weidich knows it. Maybe he does not have the outright pace today, but he's definitely showing how smart he can be around the racetrack, especially with racing lines in the final corner and the final couple of turns. But here is Léo José. This has been a perfect start to his weekend. He was the quickest in qualifying, and he has by far been the quickest today in race number 1-2. As Romain Monti and Roemayoua are looking to finish in 2nd and 3rd, just ahead of Mathias Cazot, who, unfortunately for him, lost a bit too much time behind Weidich in the opening stages to mount a challenge for at least 3rd place. Meanwhile, talking about a late charge, here is Rodolphe Walgren looking for a move over Victor Weidich for 6th position. But naturally, the cameras are all for Léo José, the leader of the 2025 Alpine ELF Cup standings. He has been flawless this year so far. He has a 27-point lead over his rivals, and this lead is about to become bigger and bigger, especially if today's performance will be repeated tomorrow. But around the final corner goes Léo José, as he is ready to see the checkered flag. Meanwhile, there's a fight now between Weidich and Walgren, as the Latza tries to go around the outside of turn number 12, but here is the checkered flag, as Léo José is once again a race winner in the Alpine ELF Cup Series. He wins race number 1 of round 5 here at the Mugello circuit. A flawless performance from the Frenchman, who will be sharing the podium together with Romain Monti and Roemayoua. Meanwhile, here is Walgren with the last gasp overtake. At least that's what he's trying to do over Victor Weidich for 6th position, as the rest of the field now crosses the start finish line, at least for the top 5. Here is Lartigot as well, finishes 5th, who will be the driver crossing the line in 6th. It's going to be almost a drag race to the line, but it's Victor Weidich who gets it by the slimmest of margins, for only 27 thousandths of a second separating the two of them. But it was Victor Weidich in 6th position. Rodolphe Walgren has to settle for 7th, though he will not be that sad about it, as he is the class winner for the gentleman standings. And behind him we see the driver who has come up victorious of the challenger standings, and that is Ivan Ovsienko, who scores his 2nd win in the class in the last 3 races and in the championship altogether. But that was a flawless performance from Léo José, once again asserting his dominance this year. A gap of over 35 points now opened to his rivals. It will be mighty difficult for the others to close him down in the last 3 races of the season, And let's not forget that tomorrow, with race number 2, he has the first match point to try and close this championship, though it will be extremely difficult to win it here already. But he can definitely gain as much points as possible over his rivals in order to only make it a formality when we go to the last race weekend of the year, which will be in Paul Ricard in France from the 3rd to the 5th of October. Meanwhile, here is Roy Mayua, the driver who finished in 3rd place. And that was a great performance from him to able to get 3rd place and finish on the podium despite Matthias Cazot coming back at him in the latter stages. At the end, the gap was less than 2 seconds, 1.7 to be exact. And ahead of Mayua, it was Romain Monti who was able to finish in 2nd position, securing another podium finish for him. He was 3rd in the standings coming in to Mugello, now claiming his 6th podium of the season. Just like the first 2 races, it's José winning with Monti in 2nd place, and Roy Mayua, who has come alive in the last 3 to 4 races, gets a 4th consecutive podium in Alpine ELF Cup Series, this time in 3rd after winning in Magny-Cours in race number 1 and finishing 2nd in the following race, as well as race number 2 in Zandvoort. Here we go into Parc Fermé with car number 36, and that is Roy Mayua, about to celebrate his 3rd place, but the driver who will be celebrating the most for sure will be Léo José, who is now ready to climb out of the car. And the same goes for Romain Monti. This was a flawless performance actually for all 3 of them. It was very difficult to do better than that. And let's not forget that these drivers will have one more day of competition tomorrow here in Mugello, with qualifying set to begin at 11 AM local time, and then race number 2, which we will be following together just like today, starting at 2:50 PM local time here in Mugello. And here are the highlights of this very exciting race here for Alpine ELF Cup Series. A great start for Léo José, who was able to secure 1st place after starting on pole, despite Mayua and Monti both trying their best to climb into 1st position, especially Romain Monti. He looked very quick at the start of the race in the first couple of laps before Léo José completely took off. But after the first 7 to 8 minutes, as you can see here in the first 2 to 3 laps, however, Monti was very much glued to the back of Léo José. That changed though as the latter managed to showcase his pace, as in the middle part of the race, the fight for 5th position between Latigo and Weidich was the main attraction of today's show, as Latigo was stuck behind Weidich for at least 4 to 5 laps, trying to move everywhere into turn 12, into turn 15, even into turn 1, as you can see here, trying his hardest to win the battle on the brakes, which he eventually did at the start of the last third of the race, promoting himself into 5th position and making Weidich defend for 6th over Rodolphe Wolgren, as we saw before. But here is Léo José ready to take the checkered flag. Here it is, as the Frenchman took yet another victory here in the Alpine ELF Cup Series. You can see now the drivers have climbed out of the cars, now getting ready to step on the podium. And so that is all for the Alpine ELF Cup Series here in Mugello, at least for race number 1. See you guys tomorrow at 2:50 PM local time for race number 2. Thanks for being with us, and goodbye.
Si on vous demande le nom d'un club auto qui rembourse votre franchise en cas d'accident, vous pensez à qui? Roule prend le relais là où votre assurance auto s'arrête. Roule, le premier club auto qui profite à tous, à condition de ne pas passer à côté.